forgiveness diet, the protein I mentioned, esteemable acts of kindness, unconditionally and without exception. Forgiveness, forgiving others, unconditionally and without exception. The spiritual fat in the forgiveness diet are the judgments. You gotta drop down on the spiritual fat. You gotta get rid of the judgments, the resentments, the attack thoughts of any kind, the grievances, the jealousies. Catch yourself when you're doing this and stop it. Say, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to take the high ground. I don't need to diminish anybody to feel good about myself. It's a waste of time. Let me do something positive. Let me do something loving. Let me do something esteemable and kind. Yeah, and I'm telling you, again, the power of fearless compassion, the power of being willing to be compassionate to somebody, no matter how they're behaving, can transform a situation in a miraculous way. You will see miracles happen. We think that miracles are something that only happens to saints, you know. Miracles happen in the presence of love. That's all it is. It's actually the most natural expression of love. What we call them miracles because so few people know how to actually be unconditionally loving. Everything's a condition. Most of our relationships, in fact, are special relationships. They're not holy relationships. By that I mean, most of the relationships we have are based upon conditions. I'll love you if you love me. I'll love you if you do this, A, B, C, and D. You know, but holy relationships is I love you, period. And again, it doesn't mean you have to hang around with them. But you choose to love everyone as much as you can. To see the God and the good in everyone as much as you can. To hate the sin, but not the sinner. But I encourage you even not to hate anything. Even hate is it's harsh, extreme position to take. The spiritual fat, get rid of the judgments and attack thoughts. Catch yourself when you're doing it. The more you catch yourself, the better you'll get at this. You know, to the point at which, at one point, these thoughts won't even pop into your head. Or they'll pop into your head with just a fleeting thought. And then you'll let it go. You won't dwell on it. You won't focus on it. But you want to decrease the spiritual fat, which is the judgments, the jealousies, the resentments, the bitterness, the grievances. Spiritual sugar we talked about briefly. The spiritual sugar is like the candy in a diet. You know, you eat a candy, you know, or you eat a bunch of popcorn, and you just, oh, it's so great. This feels so good. It's my comfort food. I love this stuff. I don't have any cares. At this moment, I don't have any anxiety or depression anymore. This is cool. But, right? An hour later or in the morning, it's like, I hate myself. You stupid putz. Why did you do that? You know, you went off your diet. Now you got to start over again. You're worthless. You're never going to get this. You just heap on all the abuse. So the spiritual sugar is, you know, the same thing. When we gossip, as I said before, I'm not going to dwell on it. We gossip. We ridicule. We're sarcastic. We make fun of other people. All this stuff feels great in the moment. Soothes the ego. It does not satisfy the soul. Stop it. Catch yourself ridiculing. Stop sarcasm. Sarcasm is a vicious attack to demean other people and make them feel stupid. Even though you get a laugh in the moment, you feel good in the moment. Other people around the office cooler may laugh and say, that's pretty funny. But all you've done is just attack and victimize someone, and you don't like it when it happens to you, so don't do it. So the sugar is unload the spiritual sugar, those things that feed the ego but not the soul. Being sarcastic, ridiculing, practical jokes, getting laughs at other people's expense, flirting inappropriately with people. Now, if you flirt with your wife, that's okay, or your husband, that's okay. If you flirt with strangers, you know, or with the boss, you're asking for trouble. You're just asking for trouble. It's not a cool thing to do. It's an attack on yourself. It's an attack on any relationship you are in. But it's also putting yourself eventually in a precarious position where you may get drawn into a relationship or a situation which sooner or later is going to be toxic and it's going to hurt you. It's going to bite you in the butt. And don't even go down that road, even though it's all so fun and exhilarating and tempting in the moment. We can't be seduced by these things. In the long run, they're going to hurt us. Okay, the monitoring of spiritual calories. Okay, so you in a diet, right? You go, okay, based upon my weight. If I, like Weight Watchers, I'm allowed 2,200 calories. If I stay below 2,000, I'm going to lose a quarter of a pound a day or a half a pound a week. So you measure the calories each day as one form of doing a diet. Okay, I'm allowed 2,200 calories. Well, we want to measure our spiritual calories every day. So what we do is we do a forgiveness diet inventory every night. Now what this means is we're basically measuring how we did during that day. We're doing an inventory of our behaviors during the day. So we write down, you can write down the good, you write down the bad. Well, let's see, well, I was nice to this person, I held the door for that person, I loaned this person money, I gave dollars to that homeless person, you know, I didn't jump all over my roommate the other day when he did something stupid, you know, that's all good. But wait a second, I also, you know, I didn't give money to that person, or I knew this person wanted to talk because something was bothering him, and I was too busy doing my video game or my crossword puzzle. I didn't want to bother with him. I could have been nicer. I could have been more considerate. That's the real inventory you want to do, because that's the behaviors you want to change. So you want to mark down basically all the things that you did that weren't loving, that weren't kind, that weren't generous, that weren't forgiving. I didn't forgive this guy, or I was rude to that person. I was sarcastic to that person. You know, you make a list of all the things you did that you don't want to be doing. And in the morning, what you're going to do is you're going to look at that list. And on the list, if you were rude to Joe, then on the list is like, okay, I got to make sure I don't do that again for sure. But I'm also going to make an amends. I'm going to say to Joe this morning, hey, I'm really sorry. I was rude. That was my control issue. That was wrong of me. Forgive me. And whether he forgives you or not doesn't matter. You've owned it. You're released. You're forgiven. You go through your inventory list because you want to, in the morning when you go out in every fresh day, you want to have it firmly in your mind what your objectives are, particularly where your weak spots are. Go, oh yeah, it's easy to be nice to, like, you know, Shirley and Beverly and Fred and, you know, and Tom, because these are all my friends and I like them. So yeah, but the guy on the freeway who, you know, I gave him the finger, you know, or I got so angry at this woman with the coupons at the grocery store, and I was just fuming, and I made her feel bad. I know I made her feel really uncomfortable and make her feel ashamed that she was using coupons or something. That was not cool. That was unloving. I got to stop that. So we look at our inventory list each morning to remind ourselves the way we want to be. This is all about reprogramming our mind. You've got to work at this. Persistence, practice, vigilance over your thoughts. If you want to change in the ways I'm talking about, this is 24/7 as best you can. This is reprogramming the mind from a negative thought, behavior, habit to a positive one. The more you do it, the more you're locking in these habits, these ways of relating. So it becomes automatic pilot. When you see someone in trouble, you lend a hand, you know, without being asked. You know, you volunteer help however you can. You stop being insensitive to the plight of others. We're all in this together. Practice, persistence, perseverance. Okay, so we do the inventory at night. Spiritual water. Okay, in a diet, you know how they tell you, there's some diet people tell you that you got to drink water. You should have like 8 glasses of water throughout the day because this helps with digestion or metabolism, whatever. It's good for losing weight or something. So it's a cleansing, you know, whatever it is. That seems to be it. So I have invented this spiritual water. Something that you need to do every hour or 2 throughout the day. And spiritual water is what I call spiritual mantras. Again, remember, the whole idea is to keep in the forefront of your mind the ways you want to be. So some of the spiritual mantras are some of the things I've already told you about, like anger hurts, forgiveness heals. So if you're saying that, or even putting it on, you can even put it on your, on your computer, or on your refrigerator, or on your desk, or on your dashboard in your car. But if you say it, try to remember it, put it on a reminder in your phone. Anger hurts, forgiveness heals. Now you got the iPhone now that can tell it to you. You can punch that in and it'll tell you every hour. So my point is, if you do this, if you've got anger hurts, forgiveness heals as your mantra every hour, right? Eventually, you're going to get it. And then when your boss comes in and says, hey, you screwed up. And then you first started, you were really going to get angry. You say, I screwed up, you stupid son. So, you go, wait a second, anger hurts, forgiveness heals. Right, I was just thinking that. Right, I don't have to get angry. Right, it's not in my best interest to get angry. Right, I'm only hurting myself and attacking myself if I get angry and defensive. Right, there's another way to look at this. Rise above the battlefield. Right. So the more you have these mantras throughout the day, you're reminding yourself of the way to behave so that when a situation comes up, you got the answer right there. It's not like you got to remember, oh, what was I supposed to remember that might apply in this situation? It's there. And you save yourself, a whole lot of time, a whole lot of trouble and grievance. Another mantra is everything is love or a call for love, as I told you before. If you're thinking every hour, everything is love or a call for love. Everything is love or a call for love. Everything is love or a call for love. And then, and then you get a call from your spouse, and he or she says, you stupid son of a bitch, I told you to pay the electric bill, and now we got zinged, and then your first thought is to scream back at her or him. Well, the only reason that happened is because, whatever, you recognize, wait a second, she's scared. She's scared, she thinks we're going to be evicted, or that we're not going to get the power back, or, this isn't an attack. This is a call for love, a call for reassurance. Okay, yes, you're right, I made a mistake, I should have paid the bill on time, but don't worry about it. I'll be on top of it, we're not going to lose the house, I'm going to tighten things up. Don't worry, we're going to be okay. It's really a call for love, a call for reassurance. My point is, the more you have these mantras in your head, telling you every hour or two the way to behave, the way to be, when a situation shows up, it's going to be right there to derail and defuse a bad trip and a bad scene. And, okay, so those are the mantras.